Welcome to Destination Unlocked with me, Daniel Edward.
Just about ready to depart.
Please make sure your seatbelt is not fastened and do make yourself comfortable.
Destination Unlocked is the chatty travel podcast where a local expert unlocks their part of the world. Today we're unlocking Oman, a country that still flies under the radar for most people heading to the Middle East, but probably not for long. My guest is Claire Hall, creator of Oman Wanderlust, who spent 2.5 years living in Muscat and spending her weekends out in the wadis, the mountains, the desert. And she's sharing genuinely practical insight from where to stay in Muscat to how to plan road trips, what Omani food to try, and why now might be the best time to visit Oman. If you're curious about real Arabian culture without the skyscrapers, stay with us. This one's packed with useful tips. So Claire, where are you unlocking for us today?
So I'm going to be unlocking the Sultanate of Oman. It's a really overlooked part of the Arabian Peninsula. People mostly think of Dubai, Abu Dhabi in the UAE, but they don't look south and they really should.
Yes, you've preempted a massive part of what people have been saying to me about this episode, which is I've been to Dubai, so do I need to go to Oman? Why don't we start with that?
Yeah, absolutely. While I was living in Oman, we did go up to Dubai, so I was able to compare and contrast. And oh my goodness, there are some huge differences. Dubai, the UAE, Abu Dhabi, altogether, very high-rise places and very multicultural. So they've brought in all sorts of influences from around the world, whereas Oman is very much traditional Middle East, very much traditional Arabian Peninsula. So if you want to, I would say if you want to see the real Arabian Peninsula, Oman has to be somewhere to visit. It's a beautiful place. They've maintained a lot of their traditional skylines, so you won't see Burj Khalifa-esque buildings. You will see very low-level Oman, very traditional design and influences from their very diverse past themselves, actually. They're very keen to maintain their traditions and set themselves apart in that way from Dubai.
That I really like. I feel like certain places in the Middle East have become these international sort of brandless cities, and to have somewhere which holds true to what it is and is proud to showcase that. And it's not to say that Oman isn't engaging in international things as well, because there's plenty of big international projects going on, but it's got the flavour of Oman, not the flavour of some sort of shiny glass metropolis.
They're very keen to get tourists in. It is and has always been a very oil-rich country, so that's where its money's come from. But only in the past 50 to 60 years has it started to modernise. They are very keen to get people to come and visit, and they are introducing things that you might see in other very tourist-orientated countries. There's going to be a new cable car coming into Muttrah in Muscat, which is one of the very traditional areas, but it'll give you that wonderful overview of those old rooftops and the older part of the city. So they are keen to encourage tourists, but I would say it hasn't become a tourist trap yet. I think if anybody is thinking of visiting, now is the time. I think maybe in 20 years you might see it as a very different place, but they are trying to modernise sympathetically with their traditions and their culture. It's such a welcoming country, and they are very keen to maintain that balance.
I think you're right about now being the time, because I went to an event that was hosted by the Sultanate, and they were sharing some updates about what was coming, and a huge thing that they're focusing on, which I've noticed is a bit of a theme in the Middle East, is sport tourism. They're signing some huge deals. The big one that they were announcing was Ironman. Oman is going to be the official sponsor of Ironman globally. It's going to host massive Ironman competitions in Oman as well. And I think more and more and more as these major events come to Oman, which isn't a huge place, then it is going to have to adapt and change.
They're certainly building up to that. Having lived there for 2.5 years, I could see them building up their sporting competitions. There's Ironman competitions happening on the coastline, but also in the mountains. Just the most extreme conditions to be running in. The trails and things that people are running on were quite impressive. I didn't do any myself, but I had friends that did, and they are described as some of the most tough trails that they've done in the world, having visited countries all over to take part in those competitions. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a destination for those sporting events. as well as just seeing the culture and doing other types of adventure while you're there. It's a very much an adventurous destination, for me anyway.
Let's get into the adventure side then. What sort of things would you recommend? I assume for adventure we are leaving Muscat.
Absolutely. Muscat is a wonderful city to explore for beautiful places like the Grand Mosque, the Opera House. So there's a lot of culture within the city. Go outside of Muscat and you have vast landscapes from wadis, dry and also flowing valleys, which you can hike through and swim through. You have the mountains that you can hike in as well. Oman has something called Jebel Shams. It calls it its Grand Canyon. It's the massive valley below that you can hike along for extraordinary views. But you can also swim with turtles, you can swim with whale sharks, which is something that I was extremely lucky to be able to do in May this year. If you go to the very north of the country, you can go on one of the world's longest zip lines. And obviously there's the deserts, which I think a lot of people think of when they think of traveling to the Middle East. I think, well, it's just deserts. But Oman is a place with so much more than that. You have all of those other adventurous activities.
It sounds like it brings out the adventurer within you.
Absolutely. There are definitely some things that I never saw myself doing before going to Oman, particularly hiking through wadis. Within the first few weeks that we'd been there, we went to an abandoned village. We were just walking through all these kind of ghostly houses that have been abandoned within the past 50 years. Oman went through such a rapid period of modernisation that people moved away from mountain villages, which were literally made of mud and bricks and stones, to places where they could have running water and sanitisation and education and healthcare systems on their doorsteps. So you have these abandoned villages within the mountains that you can just go and explore. There's no ticket desk at the entrance. You just walk through. Obviously, watch where you're stepping. But yeah, I feel like you're really discovering something like a proper explorer.
When you say watch where you're stepping, are we talking about animal deposits or the risk of falling down a cliff?
You may, in fact, fall down a hole. Health and safety in Oman is not quite up to European standards or indeed British standards. So you do have to watch where you're stepping because there are uneven surfaces that may crumble away a little bit underneath you. And also, yes, there are goat droppings.
If you're planning your first visit there, chances are you're going to base yourself in Muscat, but it's a city which doesn't have the most obvious of layouts. So where should you stay? Is there a good place to be or a place that you should not consider going?
It is a sprawling city. It is basically because it's between the coastline and the Hajar Mountains. So it's been squeezed into this corridor. And as the city has grown and the population has grown, it's squeezed along that corridor, which does make it a very long city. The best places to stay are probably in the Gubra area or the Madinat Sultan Qaboos area, which is the city of the previous Sultan Qaboos. A central space in the middle of that corridor will help you to see places. I would say that the best places are hotels near to the Grand Mosque, between that area and in the Kurum area, which is kind of around the Opera House. There are some lovely international hotels along the beach. So that would put you in a central space to see the Grand Mosque and also go to the older part of the city in Muttrah.
It's the historic part which excites me the most. You mentioned about the international hotels, but if you're looking to avoid that international hotel buffet, where would you go or what would you be looking for a typical Omani meal?
Oh, so a typical Omani meal will involve lots of hummus and cut vegetables, flatbreads, and then you would go on to cooked aromatic meats. There's a dish called shua, which is very lightly spiced. In Oman, it's not spicy hot, it's spicy aromatic food. So a shua has been slow cooked in wonderful aromatic spices, and you would eat that with lightly spiced rice. And on from there, it's into cut fruits and yogurts, and you would finish a meal with a very special Omani delicacy called halwa. I would describe it as something between jelly and Turkish delight, consistency-wise. But again, it's made with spices, rose water, and dates. You get them in little cubes. Definitely something to enjoy at the end of a meal. And obviously with Omani coffee, which they serve in very small portions. And again, that's a spiced coffee as well. It's not to everyone's taste, but yeah, it's something that should definitely be tried in Oman.
With the coffee, is it the same spice mix wherever you go, or everybody has their own blend that they particularly want you to say, no, my blend is the blend to go for?
You would not have the same cup twice.
Even in the same house?
Yeah, exactly. People blend their own. You may go one place and say, oh, I really like this, and go to the next and you'll find it's, slightly different.
Did you get into cooking local food when you were there as well?
Oh, I'm not a cook, I have to admit. No, I very much enjoyed the food there, but I'm not a great cook myself.
That's fine. If people are going on holiday there, they won't be cooking.
Exactly.
They'll be going out. Did you have favourite places, or it's really just about heading out and exploring?
Yeah, for me, it was heading out and exploring. You can get some great street food in Oman. I was there with children, so we didn't actually go out an awful lot in the evening. It was very boring. I think if I was there, just myself and my husband, we would have lived a totally different nightlife. You'll just find people very welcoming, very friendly, and keen to share their local cuisine as well.
There's a lot of seafood and fish on the menu as well, which I suppose makes sense given where the city is and the city's history. Oman has a real tradition of seafaring.
Yes, yeah, it has a huge seafaring history. Legend has it that Oman was the birthplace of Sinbad the Sailor. So yes, it's very proud of its seafaring history, and fishing is a massive industry. If you go to Muttrah, you can see the fish market there and see all kinds of amazing fish brought in on the daily catch. So yeah, you will, particularly around Muttrah, find a lot of seafood. Seafood is one to try while you're there.
If you're going out of the city, there's more adventure, but do you bring food with you, or are you camping with Bedouins and they're hosting you? How does that work?
So we did a lot of wild camping while we were in Oman, and we took a cool box with all of our supplies for one night, but it's really easy to resupply on the way. The infrastructure in Oman is incredible, actually, because they've gone through this rapid period of modernisation. The motorways are outstanding outside of Muscat. If you just go to Muscat and you spend a lot of time in the traffic there, you would think, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Oman is a built up, very busy place. Get outside the cities, you have 4-lane motorways, are perfect, no potholes, and you can just fly between destinations in your car.
It won't be long until those cars can fly.
No, absolutely. It won't be long until Oman adds more airports regionally as well. But yeah, you can get to places in absolutely no time. And there are lots of small villages along the way and towns. So it's very easy to resupply in between destinations. So if you wanted to go on the classic tourist route between Muscat to the ancient city of Nizwa, and then down to the desert, and then around the bottom end of the Hajar Mountains and come back up the coast, you would find so many places along the way to resupply. Grab some shua, grab a shawarma, which is an Arabic meaty wrap. Absolutely no problems resupplying with all those essentials once you're outside of the city.
And if you're there for, let's say, a week, 2 weeks, you haven't got used to the road system at all, would you still say it's okay, you hire a car, do your own thing, or would you go with a tour?
So I would recommend hiring a car. If you're confident about driving abroad, it is the best way to see Oman. Go under your own steam and just see where the road takes you. That's definitely the best way to do it. A word of warning on driving in Oman, though, it can be a little bit erratic. I found it more in the city. I was driving in Muscat daily and people tailgate, they cut lanes without indicating. You have to have your wits about you and drive defensively the whole time. Again, once you're outside the city, that's less of an issue because most of the population of Oman is in Muscat. So the roads outside the city are quite quiet. They're very good quality roads. So it'd be very easy to hire a 2-wheel drive car and go to places like Nizwa and appreciate the ancient city there, and then drive to the desert, again on a 4-lane highway, and get somebody from a Bedouin camp to come and collect you from the road and take you into the desert. We had a 4-wheel drive and we were able to go off-road and explore more into the mountains, and that was a proper adventure.
You've written lots about your adventures going out wild camping, road tripping through the country. You started a blog whilst you were there, but actually this wasn't your first blog, and it's not how I found you. Actually, I was reading your original blog. Why don't you talk us about your blogging journey whilst we're there?
Yeah, sure. I think I've been blogging for nearly 14 years now. My first website came about because I was working within the PR industry. Writing has always been a passion of mine. I started off as a journalist, so writing is just something that I could never dream of being without. I was made redundant from a job. I was also pregnant with my first child, and I thought, I've got to have something. I've got to do something to keep myself writing. So that's when I set up my blog, Tin Box Traveller, which was very much a website about our caravan and camping adventures in the UK. And it was just all about things that we did. And it developed from there. We went to different places, and I wrote about that on Tin Box Traveller. And then I set up another website soon after moving to Devon in the southwest of England, which focuses all in on things that we did in Devon. And when we moved to Oman, after about 18 months, I thought I should set up an Oman website. I feel very comfortable setting up websites when I've known somewhere for a period of time, and I feel as though I have some authority on the topic that I'm writing about. So that's how my Devon one came about a few years after we moved there. And then 18 months after moving to Oman, I set up Oman Wanderlust, which is really where I focus all my writings about Oman, from a very recent one that I published about camping and wild camping, all the places that we went and how we navigated roads to get there and what we found when we got there and the places that we pitched, through to things like what to wear. It's one of those really important questions and very regularly asked questions. People are very conscious of, if you go on holiday to the Canary Islands, it's fine to walk along the beach in a bikini. But if you go to the Middle East, there are places in Dubai where it's okay to walk along the beach in a bikini. But Oman is a different kettle of fish. You've got to be a little bit more culturally aware. So based on my own personal experiences and literally going out there and trying and testing, do I feel comfortable wearing a vest top while walking through this particular village in a remote area of Oman? No, I don't. No, I wouldn't. So I've tried to give people who come and visit the website information that will help them, both by making them feel happier about visiting the country, going fully aware of what to expect, and also just sharing my personal experiences. And hopefully that helps people.
I think it really does. It's such an easy and clean website to move around, and it's nice to experience it in a way which isn't a brochure.
Yeah.
Because brochures are made to sell, everybody knows that. Whereas when you're writing and you've commissioned yourself through the blog, there's an honesty that comes with that. And I think people appreciate that because it's much more trustworthy.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, and I'm very keen to say when we've made mistakes, when we've been there, learn from our mistakes. Don't do this, but try this instead. I think that's a really important thing and kind of a gap in the market that travel websites and blogs can fill as well. We were able to pick and choose the places that we went, and I can give people an honest recommendation on whether somewhere might be suitable for a family. I visited as a family, but I also visited with friends that came to see us in Oman. And I also experienced places with my parents who are in their 70s. So I can give different perspectives, which I don't think if you're reading a story in a newspaper, the journalist hasn't necessarily seen things from all those different angles, or indeed had the column inches to be able to share those things.
I think that is the blessing of a blogosphere. If you've got 1,200 words, you're trying to hit a memorable story and then get out of it. But you don't have word limits in the same way. People still have attention spans.
Absolutely.
An article has to end at some point regardless, but people can then click through to the bit that interests them a bit more, and then they go over here and then they move around the site following their own personal journey. Where do you find that people visit your site from?
I have quite a lot of readers who are expats in Oman, and then my second highest read group is from the UK, and beyond that it's various European countries. That's where people are interested from at the moment. I think there are a lot of people wanting to visit from Europe because there are some reasonably good deals on flights. Germany in particular, there are direct flights which are much cheaper than from the UK. So we have travelled through Germany when we've been going backwards and forwards to the UK while we were living there.
Which airlines would you suggest looking at? Because I would always have thought to go across and then stop in Dubai or to stop in Doha or somewhere like that. I would never have thought to go through Germany.
Yeah. Lufthansa, Turkish Airlines are ones to look at who will go indirect via Germany. Direct, it would be Oman Air from London. They go from Heathrow and from Gatwick. But yes, there are those airlines that will go via Doha and go via Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Emirates and Etihad. I always use Skyscanner to see what's the best deal at the best time. If you're traveling to Oman in the summer, you're going to get some really good flight deals because it is off-peak season. It's extremely hot in Oman. But if you're looking at traveling in the winter, then my best advice is to fly on New Year's Eve because that is when the cheapest flights are.
Very clever. Yeah. These are the handy hints and tips that you pick up from just doing it so much.
Yes.
It's not the cheapest place to be or to get to.
No, absolutely. Those flights cost quite a lot of money. I think that is one of the biggest expenses of the holiday. I think that when you're there, it also can be expensive if you're relying on tours. That's something that I certainly see in the chatter around that kind of thing in Facebook groups. Tour guides and going on organised tours is expensive. And that relates to the cost of living there and expectations for wages as well. People expect to be paid more than, say, a tour guide elsewhere in Asia might expect to be paid. So that has to be factored in. And this is why I always say it's probably better to hire a car. Petrol is cheap there. So there are some things that are cheaper. Petrol is cheap.
They just dig it from the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And car hire isn't too extortionate either. So if you're feeling brave, then go and, do a self-made trip and really get to know the place better.
If you are going out on a tour, do tour guides expect tips?
Oh, so tipping in Oman isn't expected. I think it's appreciated, but it's not like going to America or some other places in Europe where it is becoming more the norm that you have to put a tip on the table after you've had your coffee or tip the tour guide. So no, it's not expected, but it is appreciated. I think there's a little bit of a cultural thing as well in Oman where people don't necessarily want to be taking charity. They're very proud. They're very proud people. So I think it would be important to think about how you present a tip. If you did want to offer somebody a tip as well, it's probably better to say it's a gift for their children. That would be really appreciated. Family is really important to Omanis. We had a desert camp that we enjoyed going to. We went there about 7 or 8 times and stayed with our friend Badr there. And every time we took gifts for his children. And that was always appreciated.
Where was this camp?
It's in Wadi Shab desert. We drove in from Al Wasail, which is a small town on the edge of the desert. It's about a 25-minute drive in. And we stayed with Badr. He had a very small camp, very authentic. And we stayed in Bedouin-style tents. And he served us homemade food. And we used to sit around the campfire with him in the evening. And he and his brothers and cousins would sing songs. It was just a beautiful place to appreciate the starry night and the beauty of the sand dunes.
How do you find an authentic, friendly, small, local camp rather than a tourist-focused one, which is going to be more commercialised?
So they're all on booking.com. Very easy. A lot of them won't have their own websites. A lot of people, just generally for travel in Oman, it's important to understand that they don't do a lot of websites. You will find them on Instagram. They will use that as their mini website and they'll have their WhatsApp numbers on there. It was quite difficult for us when we first got there to get our heads around the fact that we just WhatsApped somebody and did business with them that way. Which is quite an alien thing within the UK and Europe. I think people expect to go on a website to know that a business is real and it's authentic and you're not going to get ripped off. But that's just how they do business in Oman. So yeah, don't be worried if you're just talking to somebody on WhatsApp. They are going to turn up at the agreed location. You just have to have a little bit of trust in it.
There's something which they've just launched in India. I think they're going to roll it out to the rest of the world, which is where you can actually pay for things inside WhatsApp. Ooh. So you can ask for a flight. They will say, is this the flight you want? You can say, yep, that's the flight I want. Then they can send you inside WhatsApp the payment thing. You pay without leaving WhatsApp, and they then WhatsApp you your ticket.
Yeah, I can see that that's something that would work in Oman as well.
A lot of places are now mobile first. People aren't even on the computer; they're just on the phone.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, everybody in Oman has a mobile phone. It is their little office, and the mobile reception there is excellent. We have been on the top of mountains. We've been, in the desert, and we've had much better mobile phone reception than when we moved back to the UK. We felt much better connected in Oman than we have in some places around the world.
And if you're going there, let's say for 2 weeks, is it a good idea you get an eSIM or you pick up a SIM card at the airport?
Either of those options would work really well. Once you come through arrivals in Muscat airport, there is a telephone booth just on the left-hand side. Go in there and the chap will be very, very happy to help you out with a SIM card.
Are you taking notes? You don't need to, by the way. I've done it for you. All of the show notes for this episode and all the other episodes are available at www.destinationunlocked.com. I must say, Claire is so full of invaluable insight into Oman. Her experience of 2.5 years as an expat over there, filling her weekends with family adventures and showing visitors around when they hosted people from home, really makes her the ideal guide to unlock this country for us. If you're thinking of taking a trip to the Sultanate of Oman, then you'll love exploring her website before you go. It's www.omanwanderlust.com. Bookmark it. The link's in the show notes. We're going to get back into our conversation with Claire in a sec, but just before we do, now's a good time to check that you have subscribed to Destination Unlocked wherever you are currently listening. It makes it so much easier to find it in the future, and we've got some fascinating destinations on the way over the next couple of months. If you're into active adventure travel, you will love our upcoming episode about adventure tourism in Kazakhstan. Or for something a little bit more tranquil but still active, we're going cycling in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy next month with a former pro cyclist from Cattolica. Anyway, that's for next time. Now let's get back to Oman with Claire Hall of OmanWanderlust.com. And it's time for a quiz. Good luck. We'll start super easy. Oman's capital city, where pretty much every trip to Oman begins, is called...
Muscat.
Correct. Easy point. Okay. The spectacular mosque in Muscat, probably at the top of every must-see list for the country. What's the full name of that mosque?
The Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque.
Indeed. Ding, ding. Correct. You've actually already mentioned this one for number 3, so I know you're going to get this one right. What is the dramatic canyon near Jebel Shams nicknamed?
That is called the... Oh, gosh. I'm losing it again.
I know you know it. I know you know it.
This is because you said it in the question. The Grand Canyon, Oman's Grand Canyon, yes.
Yes, there we go. What is the name of the famous coastal wadi that ends with a swim through a keyhole into a hidden cave pool?
It's amazing. That's Wadi Shab. It's the most famous one to go to, with good reason. It's not one of those places that's a bit of a tourist trap and you go there and you think, oh, wow, that wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. It is outstanding. The colour of the water, the turquoise water, is just unbelievable. And walking through these massive canyons, just stunning. It really took my breath away the first time we went there, and we returned, I think, 4 or 5 times. Early morning, get there. There's a boat right across the entrance to the wadi that runs out into the sea. So you have to use the boat. That starts at about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's when we tried to arrive, just because it is quite a long hike and it gets really hot towards midday. So our intention was always to start early and get back out by midday before it got too hot, because there are some quite exposed places once the sun comes up over the edges of the canyon. It can get really, really hot, and it can be quite difficult to carry enough water to just hydrate yourself during the hike.
Well, you're sort of in a microwave by that point.
Absolutely. All the surfaces in Oman just absorb the daytime heat. So in the summer months, even at night, you feel like you've got the sun baking you from those canyon walls.
Final question in our quiz. At Ras Al Jinns, visitors often stay up late to see what incredible wildlife spectacle on the beach?
That is the turtles laying their eggs. It's an interesting place, Ras Al Jinns. I've been twice. I've seen the turtles laying their eggs in the evening and went back again to see the babies hatching. The incubation period is about 2 to 3 months. So if you go at the right time of the year, you can see the laying happening at night, get up really, really early and see the babies going to the water in the morning. But I think that there's better places to do it around the world. I don't think that they've quite got the conservation elements right in Oman at the moment. It was quite sad. It felt as though we were being quite intrusive when we were there. So yeah, not one of my top wildlife experiences in Oman. It demonstrates how new tourism is to Oman. I think that it's just one of those things that they haven't quite grown into yet. I believe that the projects are helping. They are raising awareness. I just think that they are still in their infancy, really.
If somebody's heading out to Oman and they only speak English, how well are they going to do? It sounds like there are quite a lot of expats.
Yes, there's a huge expat community in Oman. I think it's somewhere about 40% of the population. Certainly, as a non-Arabic speaker, I felt extremely lucky and pampered that most people spoke really good English. We're very lucky as English speakers that it's very much been adopted in Oman. Even road signs are in English and Arabic.
If you wanted to try and use a little bit of the local lingo, how would you say in Arabic, hello?
Salam alaikum, or mahaba, which is hello specifically, but the traditional greeting is salam alaikum.
And if you were to try and say please?
So please is one that I didn't use an awful lot. I said shukran for thank you. I was thanking everybody all the time because I was very much aware of my language barrier.
So shukran is thank you.
Shukran is thank you.
How would you say goodbye?
Masalama is goodbye. I love that word. It's beautiful.
And one karakti, please.
One karakti. One karakti. And karakti is an absolute must. Very much like the Omani coffee. You'll never have two cups the same. It's a very sweet tea made with condensed milk and just sets you off for the day.
They really love sweet things.
Oh, gosh. Yes, yeah, very much so. It's a country built on dates, sweets, and the halwa, the traditional dessert. Yeah, a country that loves its sweet things.
I've got to confess to something a little embarrassing. And maybe you have a little cultural oops from your time in Oman early on that you're happy to share. But I was given a little tin. And I opened up the little tin, and inside it looked to me like there were these little hard-boiled sweets. And they smelt a bit funny, to be honest. But I thought, well, maybe they taste better than they smell, so at least I'll try one. So I put it in my mouth, and it doesn't taste any better than it smells because it's frankincense.
Yes, more commonly
I don't know if it's
burnt
safe to... Yes.
than eaten. But there are edible types of frankincense.
Oh, well, the ones I have aren't.
No. The edible times, you might go, if you went to Muttrah souk, you might be offered a piece to eat. And it would probably taste very, very similar to the type that was burnt as well.
Well, I was worried I was going to give myself a stomach ache, but I only tried a small piece.
I think I have heard that it's good. It's good for your stomach and your digestion.
Really?
I can't say that I've tried it for any length of time.
I'll try burning it, but I don't think I'll be eating it again. But was there anything when you moved there that sort of caught you by surprise that you did or somebody else did and you were just so surprised by it?
Something really simple, which I always had to keep reminding myself, was to pick things up with my right hand. Your right hand is for eating and shaking hands. Your left hand is for cleaning yourself after you've been to the toilet. So if you went to pick up something, if you were eating a shared bowl of food, crisps or anything, if you went to pick it up with your left hand, that would be seen as a dirty thing to do. Even when I went to a shop or a supermarket, I would pick things out of my trolley with my right hand and put them on the conveyor belt because I didn't want the person who was serving me to think that I was being rude by passing them something with my dirty hand.
Gosh, that is very good etiquette to know. We spoke a bit about the souk earlier, and you just referenced it there. What sort of things would you find in there that's totally Omani?
Frankincense. So with Muttrah souk, it is one of Oman's kind of tourist traps almost. You will find lots of things in there that aren't actually made in Oman, but the frankincense will have come from the Dhofar region and the south of Oman. So that is the type of thing to go and look for while you're there. And obviously, if you go to those first couple of shops at the entrance, they will sell you it for probably double what a shop further back in will sell it for. Other things that you will find in the souk, if you delve a little further back, is silver, beautifully crafted Omani silver. So that's another thing to look out for. It's not cheap. It's not somewhere to pick up a bargain, I would say. But if you wanted something that was traditionally crafted, then that's something that you'll find at Muttrah souk.
And what sort of things do they craft? Is it little ornaments? Is it something that you would put as a pendant on a necklace?
Lavish necklaces and rings and things. Yeah, it's not something that I would wear, but I almost wanted to buy one just to have it. Omani jewellery and silver plays a big role in weddings. as dowries. So all of the items that a bride would be dressed in would be just over the top bling bling. Even if you don't intend to buy some, it's worth having a look in the windows of the jewellery shops.
And do they sell special dishes to burn the frankincense in? Or do people just throw the frankincense into their fire?
So you can do that when you're camping, and it creates a wonderful smell for a short period of time. But yeah, there are incense burners. So pottery is another product that you can almost guarantee that will have been made in Oman as well. They use a round piece of charcoal in the top of the burner, and then you set that alight. And then once that's burning a little bit, you put your frankincense on top, and that's when it gives off the beautiful aroma.
Okay. If you were looking for some easy day trip options, or even if you are staying for 2 weeks, maybe pushing into 3 weeks, and you wanted to take a couple of days further away, where would you suggest going? Because you took some amazing trips from Muscat and enjoyed the region.
Yes, yeah. I think a good place to go and base yourself outside of Muscat for a few days would be Nizwa, the ancient city there, which used to be a capital of Oman, actually, on a couple of occasions. Before the country unified 50 or 60 years ago, it was a centre of learning and culture, and also the country's capital. There's an amazing fort there that you can see. Another souk, which between Muttrah souk in Muscat and Nizwa souk, I would say go to Nizwa. I think you'll see more authentic Omani products, and it's certainly where local Omanis to Nizwa go and shop themselves. So you'll see a little bit more of the authentic Omani produce there. Base yourselves there for a couple of days, and from there you can visit Jebel Shams, which is Oman's highest mountain. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can do that balcony walk along the Grand Canyon and get sweaty palms looking at the views. There's an abandoned village at the end of the balcony walk. There's an amazing pool that you can swim in. You can also see Egyptian eagles flying over the canyon. It's just spectacular. If you're feeling fit and you don't mind heights too much, I would definitely recommend that. There's also an amazing mountain village called Misfat Abriyeen. It's a working village still. People still live there. You can also stay there. The houses are kind of ramshackle down the side of the mountain. You can walk through it. There's plantations. There's the falage, which is the irrigation system, which is incredibly old. It's been around for thousands of years. So it's just one of those places that you can go and see what life might have been like, 50 odd years ago in Oman. It's a beautiful, authentic place to visit.
The wrap-up, roundup, quick-fire finish is now ready for boarding.
All right, we're going to wrap up with some quick-fire questions. What would you say is the top thing to see or do in Oman?
I would say it's visit a wadi, particularly if you're an adventurous person. They're just stunning and wonderful places for a small or a bigger adventure, depending on how much time you have.
A tourist trap to avoid?
I'm going to say Muttrah souk. There's so much there that isn't Omani. You won't find you get hassled an awful lot compared to other places. I've been to Egypt and other places where I felt really under pressure. You won't feel that there, but you're not going to pick up an awful lot of Omani genuine items there.
What about your favourite time of year to visit?
In November time, you're ahead of the main tourist season. The weather is cooling down, so it is easier to get outside and do things, go on those outdoorsy adventures. It's still quieter. I think from Christmas onwards, it gets quite busy up until about April time. What
about a top book to get you into the mood for the destination?
So before we moved to Oman, I didn't read any books about it. I knew very little about it. But I have since seen some programs that really, set the scene and would get new visitors excited. One that I can recommend is Expedition with Steve Backshall. I think episode 2, he visits the Grand Canyon and he does the balcony walk. He presents it in a slightly less touristy way. So it was quite interesting for us to watch that as a family because we're like, we went there. We didn't have the donkeys carrying our backpacks. Obviously, Steve needed a little bit more equipment than us because he was going to abseil down into the Grand Canyon, which we didn't do. But we recognised the spot that he did it from. So that was quite exciting to be able to say we were there. And if you've got a reasonable level of fitness, you can do that too. So I think that's quite an exciting thing to watch before visiting.
My gosh, you can abseil the canyon. My palms are sweating just thinking about it. Oh my goodness. What would you say is the top food or drink to try whilst you're there?
I think halwa is a really fun one. A sweet treat. Everybody likes a sweet treat. If you go to somewhere like Nizwa souk, They have whole shops there dedicated to halwa, so you can try lots of different varieties. They're sold in little kind of Tupperware containers that would be easy to transport home, and it's something that can be kept at room temperature as well. There's a lot of sugar in it, so I expect it would last for a couple of months.
It would last forever. Talking of things to take home, what would you say is the top authentic souvenir to take home? Not a fridge magnet, not a t-shirt, but something that is really truly Oman.
It's got to be frankincense. And a frankincense burner, obviously, for when you get home. It's something that when we've had visitors come, we've said to them, you must take this. Just the aroma takes you back to Oman. You can light up at home and remind yourself of all the amazing adventures you've had.
Claire Hall, creator of OmanWanderlust.com. Thank you so much for unlocking Oman for us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's all for this episode of Destination Unlocked. A huge thank you to Claire Hall from OmanWanderlust.com for unlocking Oman with us, from wild camping and wadi hikes to what to eat, how to drive it, and where to find the country's most authentic experiences. If this has put Oman on your travel list, definitely explore Claire's website. It's full of practical tips that will save you time, money, and a few cultural missteps. And if you enjoyed this chat, hit follow or subscribe so you can easily find your way back for our next journey. For more guides, interviews, and bonus travel content, head to destinationunlocked.com. I'm Daniel Edward. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.